Okay. Thank you for the nice, wonderful talk, and congratulations on the awards that you have recently already deserved. So, guys, now it is we have enough time for question and answer. So, who has the purest soul may throw the first stone, or this means you can ask questions. So, actually not only questions, comments, remarks, criticism. Everything, yes. So.
That show me how much alcohol you guys have consumed already.
And yeah, go ahead.
May I ask something? Hello. Our company will go for a BI tool, and it was very difficult for us to decide what kind of tool to go for. I was interested, how did you decide to go for the blue option?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there is Tableau, ClickView, Lumira, every tool out there, they say they are the best thing since sliced bread, right? If you speak to every vendor, they say, no, mine. So what we did is we did a bake-off, right? We did a bake-off and we invited the business users to come to the bake-off. And all of them gravitated towards Tableau more than anything else. Right? And so what we do is we drink our own champagne, right? So our entire environment is virtualized, right? Our EDWs are a virtualized environment. Our Tableau runs on virtualized servers. Everything is virtually used, and the performance is just remarkable. I hope that helps you.
Okay, thank you for the wonderful question. Okay, yeah. Go ahead. I'm going to bring the microphone over there. So here you are.
So a couple of questions. First of all, how do you train so many users? You have thousands of end users to use the new tools like Tableau. I guess that was not easy.
So that's a great question. So
also,
go ahead.
Yeah, the questions are how did you convince senior managers to use self-service BI, or do they use it as such, or they prefer the old style PowerPoint reports? And the third question is, how do you link the dashboards and everything to the strategy?
Yeah, great questions. Great. So user adoption is never easy, right? User adoption is always a challenge. I think what we did was we worked with the different teams, right? And not everybody uses Tableau. There is a whole set of enterprise users which use the S-based environment. With Tableau, because it was so innovative in terms of the dashboards we created and the user interface we created, and it's fairly intuitive to use, right? So what worked very well for us is our CEO doesn't like to see stuff on PowerPoints or Excel spreadsheets, right? Pat Gelsinger, when he looks at his scorecard, he looks at it on a Tableau environment. When he looks at the customer 360, he looks at it as a Tableau environment. And that drives the behavior for the rest of the enterprise, because you can always use, but your boss's boss is using Tableau, and you don't have any excuses then. So that has worked very well for us. The other thing I shared with you, the catalog, that also monitors usage of the corporate BI environment. And the usage report is being looked at on a regular basis. So there are teams which are not using the corporate BI environment and go to their own spreadsheets and own little databases, that gets highlighted. So there's a little bit of gamification that goes on to incentivize usage. And what was your third question?
Strategy.
Goals, company goals.
Yeah, so looking into company goals. So, like I said, we start on mic. Yeah. Our exec scorecards, which go to the board, are from the enterprise data warehouse. And our strategy discussions happen starting from the exec scorecard. So when we do our 3-year planning session, 2-year planning session, 1-year planning session, that starts from what are the scorecards we're presenting to the board. And that automatically flows into what strategic discussions we are having in the enterprise. I would say that all PowerPoints have completely gone away, right? There is some PowerPoint information consumption out there, and which is the next charter for us is to go away from static quarterly business reports to an interactive model, right? We call it the boardroom of the future, where you can walk up to a screen and look at the data and then go and change and see the performance of the business, performance of a geo, performance of a product, performance of a customer, just in one screen. Does that help?
Okay. Any other questions? Oh yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. You mentioned earlier that before you started the project, you had more than 50 databases spread throughout the world. So that makes at least 50 data sources, but I believe you have much more than that. So how do you normalize the data, and how do you get it into a single source of truth?
Yeah. So there were 50 databases, but the source was all customer information. Right? So the different databases, but all of them held only customer information, because everybody wanted to work with customers and partners, but have their own little siloed environment. So when I spoke about when we created the IIC, the first thing we did was we created the master data management team and created a customer master. Now the customer master is the single source of truth, and we use the Dun and Bradstreet hierarchy to look at customers, and then we have an organization hierarchy, and we can toggle between the two views. So the people who had their own custom databases now have custom fields in the customer master where they can store their attributes. But the way we look at the customer is through the hierarchy that we had defined. So that was one of the easiest things to get rid of the customer, duplicate customer information in the enterprise. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Any more questions, remarks, or appraisals? Oh yeah. What's up? Eva.
So I want to ask you the following question. So we saw that you're using Tableau and business objects and OBI. All these are kind of pure visualization tools, and you mentioned about getting so many different databases and data source into one centralized piece. My question is, what kind of ETL tool are you using, or ETL tools are you using? I mean, are you going to the general conclusion that maybe you have to use Informatica with Oracle because they
No, that's great. So this is just the information consumption. So we've got a similar chart for ETL as well. So you're right, we use Informatica, and with the HANA environment, we're going to use the business objects data services. So those are the two ETL tools in the enterprise.
Okay, there is one more question here from a known source.
I thought there is a limit and a quota on questions, depending on the alcohol you drink.
So what about cloud tools that you use? For example, if you adopt a new ERP tool that is on the cloud, right? The data is not on-premise. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, so we have a bunch of, like any other enterprise, we have a lot of ERP applications which reside on the cloud, like Workday, for instance. We pull all that data into the enterprise data warehouse. So we maintain, even though the transactional data is maintained on the vendor cloud, we pull that data into the enterprise data warehouse. That's our single source of truth for consolidation of data.
Anybody else? I mean, there was somebody else. Then I would like to again somebody. Oh yeah, sorry. Just in time.
Thank you for the presentation. It's an interesting one. My question for you is how much time did it take to build this environment, and we can discuss how many people were involved into implementing this and how many are supporting it now.
Yeah. So it's a fairly new environment. We started this journey, I would say, about 3 years back, right, where we found ourselves in a model where data was becoming a bottleneck for our growth, right? There was a lot of chaos with data. So the environment, we started this journey about 3 years back. In terms of the team size, the IIC team, the Information Innovation Center, is about 150 employees spread globally. right? There are people in Sofia and people in Costa Rica, Palo Alto, Bangalore, Cork. So the teams are spread globally. In terms of the support structure for this team, these are the team that I spoke about. They are the ones supporting this entire team, and so we've got a fairly robust model. So when I shared the process operating model, we've got a fairly robust model in how we take tickets from customers, right? So the team here, this is team, they typically get about 50 questions a week on, well, I'm looking at this dashboard and this data doesn't make sense to me, or I'm doing a plan for Northern Europe with this product, can you help me out? So they get about 50 requests a week, and this happens all over the globe. So overall, 150 people, environment is just about 3 years old now. And that is why we're now moving it to a near real-time environment with SAP HANA. We're moving away from Green Cloud. And that should be done by second quarter of next year.
Okay. Any more questions? We've had a wonderful discussion so far anyway. 3, 2, 1. I would like to oops, sorry.
Hello. I was wondering what was the storage before the decision of going to HANA?
The storage. So sorry.
You said that you were going to SAP HANA.
Yeah.
And before that?
So right now we are on the Green Plum environment. Green Plum is a massively parallel processing database like Teradata. It's a part of VMware's sister organization, Pivotal. Like I said, we use our own products for everything. Right, so right now it's on Green Plum and it's moving to a combination of SAP HANA and Hadoop.
Okay. Oh, more questions?
Thank you. One more for me. It might sound like a stupid one, but
No stupid questions, only stupid answers.
you know, there are many people in the organization that just don't want to lose their Excel. And whenever let's say we have the case, we want to use some kind of a tool like the Tableau, and we want to explain them that this is better, this is good, and this is totally different from reporting. I mean, this is not reporting, it is the analytics behind this.
Yeah.
And you always go back and go to them and they say, but why should I use this? I mean, I have Excel, it's better for me to use it in Excel.
Yeah.
Did you have such case here, and how did you treat this?
Not
that
only
one?
here. Not only here.
That is always going to be the case, right? Yeah, that is always good. So the thing is, when I showed you the chart, you need to identify which users can consume data best in what format, right? Especially the finance users, they just love Excel. I know there are many sitting here. They just love Excel, and which is great, right? We don't want to take Excel away from them, and that is why, you know, what we focus on, or what I personally focus on, is the source of data, not the consumption mechanism. The consumption mechanism is a guideline. And now what we're doing is we're looking at a business objects Excel plugin, so that you use the Excel interface where the data comes from the EDW. And I don't know if you guys have heard about, but there are tools out there which audit Excel usage, right? Because, you know, Excel is this, you know, the mother of all BI tools. You can manipulate anything, make anything look pretty, and send it off in an email, and nobody knows what happens, right? So there are tools like Paxata and Alteryx, which we've evaluated, which can look at how the Excel sheets get manipulated when they go from machine to machine to machine to machine. So people can pull data from the EDW, but you can manipulate it. And, you know, the reason why we exist is we don't want people to manipulate the data. We want the truths to be shown. And there are tools that do that. So we're looking at, we're evaluating that right now. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to look at the whole carefully this time. Anyone else? Given at the back there? Okay. Okay. Oops. Yeah.
I'm just curious why you're moving to HANA. What actually
So that's a really good question. So our Greenplum environment gets refreshed twice a day, right? What we want to do is have a near real-time environment for decision making. So I'll give you an example. Like I said, we work with more than 500,000 customers, and these customers, they generate support cases, right? So if the EDW is refreshed only twice a day we come to know how many support cases are raised and how do we assign them to service engineers. With the HANA environment, this will be near real time. Even opportunities as they come in, bookings as they come in, a near real time environment will help us respond to the business faster. Right?
Okay. All right. Okay, I think we can finally thank Mr. Lalla for a wonderful talk. I would like to thank the audience for replying you well with the questions.
Thank
Okay.
you guys. And I'm around, and the marvelous team is around. So in the event after the next talk, please reach out to us, and if you have more questions, please let us know.